Hello, ladies. This is another Mompreneur birthing the next generation of heroes and heroines. And I am Tanya Lynn, who is conducting these interviews with amazing women entrepreneurs who've had a baby or who are pregnant. And so we get to really connect on the truth about motherhood and what it takes to have a baby and a business. And I'm really, really excited today because we've got the lucky bitch all the way from Australia. We got Denise Duffield-Thomas, and I'm really excited to connect with her because she has a little one. And this is the first time that I've been doing these interviews when I have crossed the threshold from pregnant to mama. And so my little girl came on March 11th. And so I have a whole new perspective now. So I'm excited for Denise and I to dig in. And so, hi, Denise. I want to start with having you just share a little bit about you and your business.
Sure. Oh, wow. I am a money mindset mentor, which means I help women with their money blocks. I help women feel empowered around money. I help women charge premium pricing for what they do. And really, I give women permission to make as much money as they want, but in order to create a first-class life. And first-class life is different for everybody. It's exactly what you need and what you want and desire in your life to feel fulfilled and empowered as a woman. And especially now that I have a family, I feel very differently about entrepreneurship, which I'm sure you do as well. And I see it really is such a valuable tool to empower women and to create an amazing flexibility and freedom and abundance for our families as well. So I'm at, as you said, luckybitch.com.
I love that. And tell us a little bit about your little one, how old and name and yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah, well, I have a cute little girl called Willow. And she is just a little bit over 1, so she's still completely bald. she's on she's on the cusp of walking, so she's a sweet, sweet little girl, and she's my first baby so far.
Yeah, she's so adorable. I love seeing pictures of her, the little baldy. um, So let's start with talking about balance and what you have found to be some of the keys to success in being able to go back to work. And I'd even like to know, when did you decide to go back to work, and how you've been able to balance business and baby.
Yeah, great question. So I think it's tough. You don't know what it's going to be like until you have a baby for yourself. And I think I thought it was going to be work. I really had to work through a lot of fears that I had around having a baby. And that's why I waited until I was 35 to have a baby. One, because my mum was a teen parent. Like, she was really young when she had me. So I had it drummed into me from such an early age, not necessarily from my mum, but because of seeing how that was for her. I was like, don't be a teen parent, don't be a teen parent. And I got into my 30s and I was still sort of thinking, I can't have a baby now. And I had to go, you're not a teenager. It's okay. It's not going to be a scandal if you have a baby at 30, in your 30s. So I think the thing for me, I was really worried that my business, business that had worked so hard on and really put so much of myself into, that it was going to die when I had a baby. And so I spent a lot of time preparing before I had Willow to make sure that my business could flourish, on being a mom. And I would say to people too, when I was getting close, I'd be like, I'll see you on the other side, because I really felt like I was going to be this completely different person. And what I realized on the other side of it was I was still the same person, but things had shifted, things had changed, and I did have different priorities. But I'm really happy and proud to say that my business doubled in revenue the year after having Willow, and I can attribute it to the fact that I suddenly prioritized my business much better. I wasn't procrastinating as much as I was before. I really wanted to focus on the things that mattered, but also I got better at delegating and batching and getting more organized. So I really think that when I stepped into being a mother, I also stepped into being the CEO of my business. And as I say to people, CEO doesn't mean Chief Everything Officer, which it was before I had Willow. So, but now the way I balance, I really try and carve out specific business time because my business is important to me. It's a huge part of my identity. And also I don't feel guilty about that because I know that the abundance that I create in my business is going to create, and it does create, and it will create as Willow goes older, a wonderful experiences for her. And I'm just so grateful that I don't have to go back to a job. I haven't had a job for years and years, but I really feel for mothers who go back into the workforce against their desires. Some people really want to do it, but I do see entrepreneurship as this new wave of, it's just creating amazing empowerment for women.
I have to agree, and it's so nice. I mean, I'm assuming you work from home. It's just nice being able to not have to go anywhere and, and just having her right in the other room. And, I think, that it is empowering to be able to feel like you can do both. And it sounds like you've had
Absolutely.
that experience. Yeah. And when did you go back to work?
Yeah, it's a great question. I had prepared to have a full 3 months off. I didn't because I was so organized with the work that had to be done when I was on my maternity leave. My assistant had a handle on everything. My newsletter, we had batched a whole bunch of video content. I had 6 months worth of videos to go out. So I really didn't have to work. But I had all this energy to work because I was like, the baby's sleeping. Like, this is a breeze, which was dumb. And actually, it's really embarrassing, but I had an interview booked with Marie Forleo and Laura Roeder, and I was really excited about doing it as a video interview. And the night before is when I went into labour. And during my labour, I kept on saying to the midwife, I was like, how long do you think this is going to take? Because I've got a very important business meeting at 7 a.m.
Oh my
and
goodness.
She was just like, all right. And so I didn't, while I was still in the hospital, I was like, oh, she's asleep. I was like, oh, and I was doing, I did a speaker's application when I was in the hospital. So I took it very easy, I would say, for the first couple of months, but actually within, I got into it pretty quickly, but it was because I wanted to, not because I had to, because I was really organized. And I think that's the key with to really successfully balancing it, is to be so organized. So when you do have energy to spare, it's because you want to. It's not because you're fighting fires. And that would have been incredibly stressful in my maternity leave if I had to do stuff because I was going to, destroy my business if I didn't.
Mm-hmm. And so you said, I noticed you said, when she was asleep, you'd work. And then it was like, okay, maybe that wasn't a good idea. Is there any advice that you have for women around the first couple weeks? Because it sounds like you were doing stuff right away, and I totally can relate. So did that kind of burn you out a little bit, though, at the very beginning?
No, it didn't, because I think there was still a lot of space. Actually, one thing that I did was quite well is that I didn't have a lot of visitors come over, and so I kind of just sat on the couch and fed Willow, and she slept in my arms a lot, and I watched a whole lot of TV, and I did kind of relax quite a bit, and then so the times that I was kind of sneaking into my office, it kind of was a joy, but I think just having that space of not having a lot of people around was really helpful.
That's good advice. Yeah, I found I had to find the balance between when she was napping, for me to nap, but also for me to do things that I needed to get done. And I had to keep checking in with myself of like, okay, when are you going to make sure that you're going to get a nap in? Is it now or is it her next nap, right? And so that was the thing that I really had to manage. And yeah, and I would say that the first couple weeks it was a lot of just laying around on the couch and in the bed, taking care of
It's
myself.
nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and food I think is a big one for that early stage as well, because you just want to make sure that you're really nourished. So
yes.
ask people to help you. Ask people to bring you food. I think that's so important because you don't really feel like leaving the house, I
Mm-hmm.
think, a lot of the time. But you get so hungry. And I had visitors come around, and some people would bring diapers and food, and I was so grateful. And then other people would come and they would bring me nothing, and I'm like, why are you even here if you're not even going to bring me food?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that I just want to put out there is it's really awesome to have a meal train. I had a meal train as well where people came and brought food every day. But don't feel obligated to have them even come in the house. There were a lot of people who I said, can you just leave it at the door? And I think there's this feeling of like obligation or, receptivity of, oh, they're doing something, so I have to give back to them. But you don't. I just wanted to put that out there that, if it's going to drain you to have people actually come in the house, don't do it. That's one thing that I found.
That's a good point. And it made me realize actually what a bad friend I was for my friends who had babies before me, because I never thought of anything like that.
I know,
So I
right?
know that my next friend, yeah, totally. My next friend that has a baby, I'm gonna go over and clean her kitchen, or I'm just gonna put some food on the step and go away, and I'm gonna bring her diapers and wipes because you're always running out.
Yep.
And I almost want to apologize to every friend I've ever had who's had a baby before me.
Me too. I felt so guilty for a couple of my friends because I was just like, I just want to come see the baby. And it's like the people who did that for me, I was like, hello. No, you can't
Yeah,
just come see the baby. Bring something.
exactly. Bring me some food.
Or at least go do my dishes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So what have you found is the greatest gift, either expected or unexpected, that motherhood this year has provided you?
Wow. Yeah. Good question. Um, just a real prioritization of what's important to me. I definitely have a lot less patience to people who don't bring me joy, who situations that don't bring me joy, and yeah, that's a real gift, and it really
Mm-hmm.
helps me to strip away things that don't work in my business as well as my life. And it's really forced me, I think, to ask for what I want and what I need. Especially, my husband he's a wonderful father and he's a wonderful husband and he always has been. But even still, I have to train him and I have to ask him for what I want. And one of the things that I did quite early on, because he would go, oh, I'll take the baby tomorrow, you sleep in. And then tomorrow would come and he'd go, oh, I think I'm going to go to the gym. And I'd be like, what? So I realized that I had to say to him, no, okay, well, let's schedule the time where you're going to have the baby. And so he has Willow from 7:15 to 8 o'clock every morning, and that's his responsibility. And if he needs to change that, he needs to negotiate that with me. And same when he comes home, he takes her for 45 minutes when he gets home. And so if that's all you have to carve out your business, that's all you have. And I'm lucky that I've also got a part-time nanny during the day where I can carve out some time. But I had to ask for that, and I had to really make a stand and say, this is what I need to not only be a mother, but also be a businesswoman and have that time. And it's not enough just to go, oh, rely on his generosity. It's like, no, you have to schedule it in. But I had to ask for that, and I think that's been a real gift in asking.
Mm. I couldn't agree more, and that's so beautifully stated. Because that's the biggest thing is everything shifts, and you got to make sure that you as the mother and as the business owner get your needs met. And I'm just not about the martyr, the sacrificing mother, who's completely killing herself. And you just can't as a mompreneur. It wouldn't work. So
No, and
yeah.
I think it's really important to carve out time, space for your business. As in, you need a little bit of space, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky I've got my own office, but create that space for you, and then also negotiate to carve out that time, because I've tried to do it as well, like on days when my nanny's not here or if Mark's not here. I've tried to combine both, and it makes you go crazy, I think. It makes you feel so harried and horrible, and I think it's so important to carve out that time and space for yourself and your business, if that's important to you as well.
Yeah. Now that you're on the other side, what wisdom would you offer for your pre-mother self? And one thing I heard was schedule it all out, right? Like the batch processing that you do, but what else?
Yeah, get organized for sure. The thing is that I was really focused on a lot of negatives, and I was focused on preparing to mitigate the negatives. And I really didn't realize how much positive there is. You know, I was just thinking, I'm not going to have time for myself, so I need to plan out this, and this. I'm not going to have time for my business, so I need to batch everything. And it was like I really didn't get that there's amazing stuff, you know, that was a gift that I didn't even realize. So I would say that to people who are on the other side, is just like, you'll be able to sort it out, and it's such a beautiful journey, and it's wonderful. And a lot of the things that you were worried about before, you know, like getting the perfect baby wardrobe, like getting the perfect, I don't know, you've got all that time to go, what's going to be the best, you know, I don't know if you guys did, but we would have fights at Target on like which baby wiper thing to get.
Oh my God.
And none of that matters. You know, even to the, I remember when they told me I was having a boy, and I cried for like 3 days, you know, because I was like, when I was having a girl, I was like, but I wanted a boy. You know, I didn't get my way. And you just realize that you're not going to be able to control everything. And it's going to be beautiful. So that's what I would say. It's so much better than you think it's going to be.
And what was the most amazing things for you? Like one of those little surprises.
Well, when Willow came out, like, we had a really beautiful, easy birth. It was really great. And everyone told me you're going to get this big rush of love and kind of adrenaline. And I just sort of went, hey, it was really casual. I was like, you're here. This is really cool. Hey. And that was really nice. And, you know, I really can't wait to have that experience again. And because even during my pregnancy, I wouldn't allow myself to get excited about it. I was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of cool. You know, like, I'm having a baby, whatever. And I think for this next one, I am going to be I'm going to allow myself to experience it fully. Even, like, my husband's quite emotional, and we'd go to see the heartbeat, and he'd be like, oh, look, it's our baby, and he'd, like, squeeze my hand and, like, look at me with these puppy dog eyes, and I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Whatever. And I think this time I'm gonna allow myself to feel it more. You know, we're definitely planning to have some more babies, and I'd like to be a bit more, you know, vulnerable about it, and for it to be okay, to be an exciting thing.
Yeah, I had the same experience where I was standing, and Brent actually caught the baby behind me. And I turn around and I'm like, hi, baby. And I was just like, they were all crying behind me, and I just was so disconnected emotionally from the experience, because it was just like, let's just push her out, you know? And so I had that same experience of like, okay, yeah, you're here. Great. Hi.
It's funny.
So I can relate. So what's your last question is, what's your top 3 favorite resources for either new mamapreneurs or someone who's pregnant? Anything that you want to recommend, a book or anything?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have an online mothers group with women who you really resonate with. So I have one that's full of business women, so we can have those discussions about business as well as our babies, and you know, no one's going to judge us for actually wanting to have a business and make money as well. So I think that's hugely important. I actually don't have a physical mothers group necessarily, but I'm meeting more mums now. So I think it's important to have that online one, because then you can be on your phone, you know, at 3 a.m. and say, who's online? The baby's doing this weird thing.
Yeah.
I've got a kid sticker from Easter on my phone. Funny. So that's really important. And I think, as I said before about carving out a space, like, I know it's not a resource, but having a room or having something that's going to be yours so you can go into it, close the door, even if it means that your other kids have to share a room for a while, or, you know, the baby has to be in your room, or you take away the spare room for a little while. It's just important that you have a space that's yours and you feel like it's a priority for you and your business, because it is worth working on your business. It does create so much abundance for you and your family, and, you know, it's worth it. You're worth it, I think, is really important. And then the third one, I don't have it here. It's upstairs. I should have brought it down. But it's a breastfeeding pillow called My Breast Friend. And it's been so good. You can get it on Amazon for like $40 or something. And it's like this platform pillow that goes all the way around and clips around the back. And the platform comes out to about here. And I found it was perfect for, you could feed the baby and type if you needed to. But also the baby can fall asleep on it, and it's a big platform so it won't roll off. And you can just have the baby sleeping really close to you, but it still gives you hands-free to work. And I used it a lot, not only for being in my office and working while she was asleep, but I've taken it on planes. It's really good for those 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. feeds when you kind of feel like you're half falling asleep. And it's been such a great, just one of those things that just makes your life a little bit easier. And I don't use it so much anymore because Willow's much bigger, but there was a point where I would just wear it all day, like a tutu. And you can there's little pockets, you can put snacks in it.
Oh my God, adorable.
It's great. And buy one for, you know, if you've got a friend who's having a baby, buy one for them. You know, it's really well named, like My Breast Friend. It's so well named. I'm always like, I love this pillow so much. It's silly. Yeah, so they're my resources.
I'm going to go check that out. Well, thank you so much. And so if other women watching this want to get in touch with you or check out what you're up to, how do they find you?
Sure. So I'm at luckybitch.com. Really, really easy to find. I've got a lot of resources for women in business who want to make more money, have more fun, and really empower themselves and their families by having a successful business and creating a first-class life. So I love to hear from your ahas around this. And, you know, if you want to send me a tweet with an aha, I'm at Denise DT. And, you know, tweet both of us and tell us your aha from this interview.
Yeah, thank you. This was a super fun interview. It was so great hearing about your adventures, and so glad we got to connect on this. So thank you, and thank you everyone for tuning in to Mompreneur, birthing the next generation of heroes and heroines, and we'll see you next month.